I just started college and I'm studying computer engineering. Unfortunately, I can't use my Mac for my computer engineering labs. Now, yeah, I could use a virtual machine or I could go to lab, but I'm too lazy. I'm gonna just spend the next 3 months working on a program that can work on Mac. To be able to do this, we first have to understand how the original program works. Basically, all we have to do is we have to put the program name and then just a tag that will give us either the time, the accelerometer data, the gyroscope data, button data, joystick, so many other things. That means that we need to build a program that is able to get this data from the controller and output it in this way. Now that we understand that, we can now start building the program. We need to figure out how we're going to be able to send packets from this controller to the Mac, and so that we can unpack it and do whatever we want with it. Well, what do you do in 2025 when you have a problem like this?
Ask ChatGPT. Oh, ChatGPT.
All right, so let's see. What does this give me? Probably wait a minute. This is actually kind of good. But now, what do I do? Luckily enough, I actually have a professor that's helping me out on this project, or else this was never gonna happen. And now he told me that I need to go and take all of this information that we're getting and putting it into a struct. Once we have it in a struct, we can just access it and do whatever we want with it. You know, this is seeming a little bit easier than I thought. Psych. If we look right here, we can see that there's some values that are just not moving. Now, to really explain this, we have to look at how the packets are organized in a CPU, and the CPU that the controller uses could be X,
and the way that it
X16, you know, these different formats where it's
possible, right?
Okay, you know what? Let's just ask Gemini. OMG, what is this? You know what? It works. Who cares? My professor does. The reason why Gemini's code is so hard to read is because Gemini doesn't want to read from the struct, because if we follow the struct, it's saying that, well, this is the left stick value, this is the left stick Y value, this is the right stick, and so on and so forth. But here's the thing, it's not. We have some of the values here that are just not good. So Gemini's like, you know what? I don't even want to deal with this struct. So instead, put it in here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and access it. So if I want to get the 0th one, then it's able to grab this one and put it right here. And that's what it reports for some specific value. So what we want to do is instead, we can avoid this and all of this garbage that Gemini is giving us by then putting some padding. We can add into our struct ourselves some padding in the areas where we're getting some of these fake values that we don't need, and instead just have them as placeholders, so then when we ask for a left stick value, we're getting the correct left stick value. Everything's been going pretty great, but I have a problem. I never tried it with Bluetooth. And now that I have, those packets do not look correct. To understand what is wrong, we need to understand how ChatGPT's program actually works. What is happening is IOKit is asking the computer, here, give me all this data packets that the computer is accepting. And now I'm gonna go and read them. The problem is the controller, when connected over Bluetooth, only wants it to send 10 bytes when this is happening, instead of the full set of bytes that it does over the cable. So instead, what we need to do is we need to send a message, and that message is OXO9. And putting that right here, we are getting our full set of bytes. Showing this to my professor, he was actually pretty happy. Then he ended up actually giving me his original code from the labs program. And really all I had to do is, because it was written in C++, I could take this logic, copy and paste, and then I just had to go into my own logic and copy and paste, and would you look at that? It works. I guess that's it. Bye-bye. So my professor wants me to actually add something to this. In our program, I'm using the computer's clock to be able to calculate the time, just like his own program. Here's the thing, if we look at this data packet, we can actually see that there is an incrementing value, which is actually a time clock from the controller. So he's asking me to go and take this value and be able to use that for the time, because then we're gonna have even more accurate readings when we're doing tests with the controller. Now, the thing is that this clock starts from when we turn on the controller, and we don't want to be messing around with thousands, hundreds of thousands of milliseconds. Instead, what if we just started a timer that when we start the program, it starts taking that snapshot and then it just subtracts it. And then we get a new value. And that's exactly what I did. So finally, at last, it works. Unfortunately, only for lab 9. But you know what? We still got it done before the labs were over for the year. And now any other students later on can use my code. I guess that's a success.